Ahawe, please give us an opening prayer. We can do some introductions as we wait for other people to join us, and then we'll start. Ahawe, are you hearing me? Well, don't go and interrupt mommy, okay?
Use your Lord, as you gather, learn and share your goodness through equipping gas, apples, and knowledge. Ask you for your Holy Spirit to lead us and guide us. Lead us to my prayer.
Amen. Thank you, Ahawe. It's good to have you all, dear friends. Thank you for joining in. Our facilitator is already in the house. I apologize again that we began a bit late. I'm sorry. I was in another meeting that ended a bit late, but we are now here. I know a few of our colleagues will join us as we go on, but I want to be cognizant on time. We thank God so much for enabling us to meet today in yet another webinar that we are having. It's been a while, but we thank God that we've been able to meet again. And our facilitator is already in the house, Michelle Park, who is a friend that we've met not so long ago, but was introduced to us by another midwife called Carrie. Both of them are very passionate about midwifery and especially about helping Christian midwives be able to do their work well and honor Christ. So I know she'll tell us more about herself for those of you who are coming for the conference in August, which I'll share more when we start when we are in the announcements. She's going to come and she'll be one of our facilitators. Michelle, it's a joy to have you. We usually have these webinars because as Nurses and Midwives Christian Fellowship, we have two things that bring us together. One is our faith as Christians, and then the other is our profession as midwives and nurses. So we usually help ourselves in those two areas to grow as Christians, but also to grow in our profession. And we are very grateful that you're here today, and we hope we can have you more and more to do these sessions. Those that were able to do the pre-webinar test quiz, well done. Those who are not able to, we can still do it post the webinar, and there you'll be able to perform well and get better marks. Okay, without spending any more time, please allow me to welcome Michelle to start her presentation. Michelle, you're welcome. We are happy to have you. You can share screen. I had made you a co-host. I think you dropped off. Let me just make you co-host again. Okay. Yes. And in case you have any question as she presents, please write it in chat. We will have a time of question and answers at the end. Michelle, you're welcome.
Well, hello. Thank you all for letting me be here with you today. I'm excited to be here and learn with you all. I know that it's evening there for you. It's just noon here, but I'm sure you've all had a long day. And so I'm really grateful for you taking the time to join us. I hope you can bear with me. I'm not as tech savvy as I would like to be, but hopefully the PowerPoint that I put together for you all will work and I can share it with you. I have a new laptop, and my son was helping me set it up. And my problem is that my phone and iPad are all touchscreen. So I keep trying to touch the screen on my laptop and it doesn't work. So when my son quit laughing at me, I think he was able to help me figure things out. So hopefully that will be the case. Maybe I can introduce myself a little bit more to you. I am a passionate follower of the Lord Jesus. I am a widow. I am also a wife again. I'm the mother of 10 children. I have 8 daughters and 2 sons who are all grown and out of the house now, but many of them live close by, which I'm grateful for. I have been a certified professional midwife here in the United States for 39 years. I started when I was very young. So, yeah, it's been 39 years of being able to serve mothers and babies, and I'm really grateful to the Lord for that. I live in Kansas, which is a very flat agricultural state right in the middle of the US. And so I feel like I'm coming to you from a long way away, but I'm excited to be able to be closer in August. I do home birth. So oftentimes I will be in the mother's home to deliver the baby, but more often they come to my home because I've created a like birthing suite in my home so that mothers and babies can come to me from even far away and have their babies here. So that's kind of how we do things there. And I do all of their prenatal care, labor and delivery, and postpartum care for mom and babies for 6 weeks after the birth. So I'm really ignorant about how things are done in Uganda. And so I'm hoping that the information I share with you today is relevant and beneficial to you. But I don't want to be somebody who is making assumptions on what you need or what would be helpful. So hopefully this first attempt is. And if there's other areas or issues that you have that perhaps I could be helpful with, I would love to know that. So I have long dreamed of going to Africa. Even as a child, I wanted to go. And as a midwife, I've been able to serve in many places of the world, South America, Haiti, the Philippines, Europe, the Middle East, but not yet Africa. So the opportunity the Lord has provided in August is really an answer to a lifetime of prayer. I have one of my daughters, my third born, actually served in Africa for 3.5 years on mercy ships. And though she wasn't in Uganda, she was more in West Africa, where mercy ships serves more. She shared my love of Africa, and I kind of lived vicariously through her when she was there. So she's very excited for me to finally be able to go. So let's get started. And like Sylvia said, if you have questions or I use terms that you're not familiar with or something, please put them in the chat. We'll go over them afterward. I want this to be a time of conversation, discussion, learning together. So let me see if I can get my PowerPoint to work. Hopefully I can just like open it and it will share. Guess we're going to find out. Let's see. Okay. There's that. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes, we can see it.
It says the golden hour.
Yes, and it
Okay,
has the
good.
God behind it.
Thank the Lord. I was worried about that. I messed with it last night, but I couldn't, like actually test it. So I'm glad that's working. So the golden hour is a known and proven window where specialized and specific care can make a significant difference in the outcome. In medical emergencies, the golden window is defined as 90 minutes immediately after the event that requires attention and care. Maybe it's a car wreck, a fall, an injury, or a medical event like a heart attack or a stroke. Appropriate care given in the golden hour, in most cases, is the difference between a good and a bad outcome, oftentimes between life and death. Our bodies are amazing creations capable of a great deal of self-preservation, but it has its limits, and receiving help in the golden hour is crucial. Let me try to go to the next slide. Did that work? Can you all see the golden hour birth through the first 60 minutes?
Yes, we can see
Okay.
it.
Okay, it's working. I want to ask you every time now. Thank you. For maternity care, the golden hour is defined as the time from birth through the first 60 uninterrupted minutes. From the moment of birth, mothers instinctually study and interact with their babies, and babies with their mothers. Babies open their eyes, respond to their mother's voices, which they've heard for a long time, but now can hear clearly. Babies can see clear across the room, but not clearly at every distance. But the perfect focus from birth is that distance between the breast and the mother's face looking down at her nursing baby. That's the distance that babies can focus on clearly from the moment of birth. And I think that's a beautiful design from God. Mothers and babies want and need to be together. There are big changes happening for both of them. If we think about all the new experiences that babies are going through, they're feeling cold for the first time. They're hearing things clearly, being touched for the first time. They're breathing, having smells, tasting, eating by mouth for the first time. Their little hearts are even changing the direction. Now it now pumps blood. That's a lot for just being born. And mothers as well, they just went through a very emotional experience that taxed the limits of her strength and resources, physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. And I'm sure all of those of you who have children can really relate. That's a lot to be going through. And so bonding is important during this time. Statistics show that bonding during this time results in higher rates of exclusive and long-term breastfeeding. This is my third-born daughter, Melissa, the one who served on mercy ships with the birth of her first daughter. She now has 3 little ones, but this was her first one. When a baby nurses, the hormone oxytocin is released. And oxytocin is the hormone that is often called the love hormone. It's the one that you feel when you get hugged, or when you receive a kindness, or give a kindness, or even see a kindness being expressed. Oxytocin is released, and it's that love, comfort feeling, just like being hugged. It's also the hormone that causes uterine contractions and helps to expel the placenta and prevent postpartum hemorrhage. For babies, studies show numerous benefits of the golden hour. They include what you see here, and I'm sorry if I'm just reading this off to you, but I thought it would be easier for me to make slides so that you could see rather than just listening to me. Babies breastfeed better overall. They have less crying. They're more alert. They have better sleep, better weight gain and growth, improved temperature regulation, decreased jaundice, because when they eat, they poop, and meconium causes jaundice. They have stable blood sugar levels, better immunities, which mature the intestinal tract and helps fight and resist infections. And those levels decrease markedly after day 1. Human milk is rich in immunity components, And so the colostrum that comes in the first hour is extremely important. The colostrum in the golden hour, that first hour, has been shown to be markedly different than the colostrum at any other time. It's extra special. And it's not just that way in humans, it's the same in animals too. I learned this from a dear midwife friend who serves in the Philippines. And she shared with me that even though we know this is true in the golden hour, that the colostrum is so special in that first hour, it's also true in animals because she was raised on a farm in Montana, which raised and trained race horses, like the kind that run in, the Kentucky Derby and big, many multi-million dollar races. And her father was the head trainer on this ranch. And she was always by his side learning about horses, even as a child. And whenever there was a mare that was about to have a baby, her father would always be with that horse, even through the night, waiting for that colt to be born. And he would carefully observe when the colt was born, when it would first nurse. Because if the colt did not nurse in that first hour after birth, he would never bother to train it as a racehorse. It might be good for other things. Sorry, there's a helicopter going over, which is really unusual. I'm sorry. But if the colt didn't nurse in that first hour and get that extra special colostrum, he knew that it would never be a champion. So he would never bother to train it as a racehorse. And I just thought that was fascinating that in God's design, that first hour is so important. There's an amazing design of breastfeeding and breast milk, which includes that there is flora that actually grows on the breast, and that boosts the immune system at every feeding. And the baby on the breast actually causes the mother's body to sense that baby's nutritional and physiological needs and make adjustments to the components of the milk accordingly during that very feeding. Breastfeeding in the golden hour helps moms to be calmer and have better sleep. They have faster recovery. It establishes better milk supply that comes in sooner. And it gives confidence that she can care for, comfort, and soothe her baby. With all the benefits of the golden hour, we have to wonder, why doesn't this happen? Why isn't this the norm? There was an interesting study done in the Philippines, again with midwives that I know. This was actually a study done as the master's thesis for one of the midwives there. Her study was labeled Birth Attendant Risk Factor. Make note of that, birth attendant risk factor for delayed initiation of breastfeeding and non-exclusive colostrum. So in this study, there were 386 babies that were studied in an area with a birth center that pushed golden hour feeding. Now, the babies that were born at the birth center, of those, 83% of them nursed in the first 30 minutes. Another 13% nursed in the first 30 to 60 minutes. 3% nursed in the first 1 to 2 hours, and 1% nursed in the first 24 hours. And this was compared to only 24% in the first hour in the community without the birth center's intervention. For the babies in the area that were delivered by government midwives, 22% nursed in the first hour. With traditional midwives in the area, those babies, 30% of them nursed in the first hour. If there was no midwife attending, but just family in attendance for the birth, 42% of those babies nursed in the first hour. And babies born in the hospital with medical doctors, 0% nursed in the first hour. Only 30% of them nursed in the first 24 hours, and 12% of them never nursed at all. We have to wonder why, or better, who is impacting the golden hour. We hope that it isn't us, but if it is, then it's good that we can change things. Formula is not an answer. Studies show that pre-lacteal feeding of non-human milk causes antigens to form that disrupt normal physiological gut priming. And that's the job of colostrum. Colostrum has immunities and all kinds of good things, but its main job is to wake up the baby's digestive tract and prepare it for food, the milk that's coming. When non-human milk is introduced during that time before the milk comes in, it causes tiny holes to form in the gut lining. Just one feeding of formula causes the breakdown of the gut lining and exposes the baby to harmful bacteria. This is especially significant in HIV and TB positive mothers because both HIV and TB go through breast milk. Babies of HIV and TB positive mothers can breastfeed, but only if it's exclusive. The baby cannot have anything other than its mother's milk because formula opens the gut to all the microbes of HIV and TB. Studies show that babies of HIV positive moms who are exclusively breastfed have markedly better outcomes than babies of non-HIV positive moms who are fed formula. So that tells you a lot right there, both about the importance of exclusive feeding, and it also tells us how bad formula is. Even premature babies can, whoops, sorry. Okay, yes, even premature babies can breastfeed, even as early as 32 weeks. Those babies are stronger, have more energy, and are out of care sooner. If they can't breastfeed because of their prematurity, it's important to express the colostrum, pump the milk as it comes in, and feed it to the baby with an eyedropper or a syringe, but it must, again, be exclusive. Kangaroo care is also very effective with preemies when the baby is wrapped skin to skin on the mother 24 hours a day and positioned so that the colostrum and later the milk is readily accessible to the baby to just drip into their mouth. This has been found to be very effective. We can help moms by educating them on the importance of the golden hour and of breastfeeding exclusively. We can share the benefits to her and her baby. And it's important for us to know how to assist her with the positioning of pillows or different holding positions for the baby, the C-hold of the nipple to make it easier for the baby to grasp, teaching them to keep that top nostril open because babies are nose breathers so that they can breathe while they're nursing. But if we clog those nostrils, then they're going to come off, right? It's important for moms to have good posture during feeding. If you think about it, a woman spends hours a day breastfeeding her baby, and if her posture isn't good, then that's going to result in problems for her. It's important to teach them to have the baby tummy to tummy so that the baby doesn't turn its head to nurse at all. And teach them things like getting the baby to open its mouth by teasing their upper lip with a nipple. It's also important to check for tongue and lip ties and clip them as needed immediately. Sorry, my cursor keeps leaving there. There we go. As you can see, this baby is in a good position. The mother and baby are skin to skin. There's a warm towel over both of them. but the baby is tummy to tummy and the mom is in a comfortable position. So this has all the earmarks of successful breastfeeding. It's important for us to eliminate practices that interfere with the golden hour. Maybe these exist where you work, maybe they don't, maybe some of them do, but here in the US, this is all very common practice, unfortunately. For the baby, practices that can be eliminated and should be eliminated include newborn exams and assessments, weighing the baby, giving injections and lab work being done, bathing the baby, dressing, even swaddling the baby because we want them skin to skin with mom. Bright lights, loud noises, lots of activity going on in the room. Those are all things that interfere with the baby nursing right away. Delayed cord clamping is a good idea because it keeps the baby with mom. Oftentimes, at least here, relatives want to hold the baby, and that is fine, but we want to wait until after that golden hour. And if the baby's still attached by the cord, it's a little hard for them to take the baby from mom. Practices for the mom that need to be eliminated involve suturing. That can be delayed after the first hour. Checking the fundus for bleeding, that we can do without interfering. We can slip our hand in there and feel. We can even ask the mom, and I do this with my moms, tell me if you feel a warm, hot gush, okay? Then I'll know to check. We can do vitals without disturbing breastfeeding if those are needed during the golden hour. Asking questions for paperwork, that can wait. Changing her location, if that can be held off for the first hour, that's good because all the time that we take doing any of these things that detract from that baby nursing during the golden hour is time lost. This is my second born daughter and her third baby, Alex. I put this slide in there and then realized as I was looking at things this morning that this is her birthday. So 40 years ago today, I know where she was and I know where I was. After the golden hour, we still need to protect that mom and baby unit. We can do that with practices like rooming in, where the baby stays in the room with the mom. This inspires the mom's confidence to be able to care for the baby and to breastfeed. It makes exclusive breastfeeding easier because if the baby needs to be brought to the mom, well, we all know that we're busy and that doesn't necessarily happen as quickly as it should. It also makes things calmer and quieter for both mom and baby. It results in better feeding and better sleep for both of them. We want to promote exclusive breastfeeding for 1 full year, 6 months at the least. And so this is a good time to be educating our moms about that. We want to keep them skin to skin for the first 24 hours. I will put a diaper on the baby because otherwise it gets a little messy, but I really want mom and baby to be skin to skin otherwise. We want to encourage hydration and good nutrition because her milk is only as good as her nutrition is. And we want to continue, whoops, why did it do that? There we go. Continue education and support of exclusive and long-term breastfeeding, which is the #1 most important step in improving infant child mortality and decreasing childhood illnesses. The benefits of exclusive breastfeeding continue long after birth for both mom and baby. For babies, they have better weight gain and growth throughout childhood. Immunities that they receive result in fewer and less severe illnesses. They have better general health because they've received the best nutrition. They're calmer and they sleep better. and there are fewer incidents of autism and learning disabilities. For moms, it's amazing what happens with breastfeeding during the golden hour. Studies have shown that these moms have decreased incidence of breast and other types of cancer, type 2 diabetes, retained weight gain, metabolic disorders, heart attack, and postpartum depression. In short, exclusive breastfeeding not only is a safe and healthy practice, but vital for the health and well-being of moms and babies. It's the ethical responsibility of healthcare providers to respect, protect, and support moms and babies in the golden hour. And it's important for us to be competent and consistent in how we do it. Through education, advocacy, and sometimes tenacity, we can eliminate routines that interfere with the golden hour and help implement protocols that benefit it. Finally, and I'm going to go backwards a little bit, and I apologize for that, but it's kind of how it worked better. And this is something that I am working on myself and want to share with you. It's important that we do these things for the golden hour, but it's not the most important aspect for us to consider today. All of what I've talked about is what to do and how to do it. But the most important aspect to our work as nurses and midwives is our why. I want to encourage you to ask yourself this question: why am I here at this time, in this place, with this mom and baby? It's important to start with why and go out from there to the how and what. Your why is the center. It drives and provides the context for everything else. Why do you get up every day? Why do you go to work? Why do you do what you do? Why are you here? As women, Christian women, the ones that God has chosen to join him in the creation and protection of life, our why matters more than anything else. Our why must be bigger than ourselves. It is the most profound and long-lasting result of our efforts. In Matthew 22:37-9, we read, Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second one is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." And when Jesus returned to heaven, he left us just one very, very clear task. We find it in Matthew 28:19. He said, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the end of the age." Now that's what I call a very good why. When our why is settled and when it's in line with God's word and will, then everything else falls into place. When we are disciplined and consistent in how and what we do, others will know who we are and they'll know what we stand for. But more importantly, they will know who we believe and be inspired to know him also. We as women in this profession have a unique and sacred responsibility, the opportunity to share the love of Christ with women, because we are the ones that are with them during that precious, intimate, and vulnerable time in their lives, like no one else. It's why we are here. We have the responsibility to empower other women, to help them discover their why, and through all of that, we can change the Lord. I pray that the Lord will bless all of you as you continue to serve mothers and babies, and as you study and pray about and embrace your why. Why does He have you here? I want to end with some more pictures I have of the golden hour, and then share with you a beautiful story of why. Notice there's two in this one. Keeping that nostril open. Dad's even helping. So I want to introduce you to this beautiful, special woman. She's also a sister in Christ. Her name is Gerda, and she lives in Haiti. And this is her sweet little baby. And part of my figuring out what my why was involved Gerda. This was about 12 years ago now, so that baby's not so little anymore. But Gerda was the housekeeper for the birth center in Haiti where I worked. And she was a beautiful woman, very kind, very competent, but she was very quiet and withdrawn and didn't talk a lot with me or many of the other midwives there. And I had gone to Haiti to serve there for a period of time. And the midwife who ran the birth center shared with me that she was very concerned and upset because Gerda was pregnant. And I was like, why is that a concern? And she told me that this was Gerda's 9th pregnancy, but all of her other pregnancies had ended in miscarriages or stillbirths. And they hadn't been able to figure out why. She had encouraged Gerda not to get pregnant again because the same thing would happen. And so she was just very sad for her that she was going to have to go through this heartbreak a 9th time. So this really stuck in my head and my heart. And I was praying for her and asking God, what is happening with this woman? Is there anything we can do? Please show me if there's something that we can do. And one night I couldn't sleep. And so I got up, and it was very hot in Haiti. Maybe it's the same way in Uganda, but it was really hot and I couldn't sleep. And so I got up and I started researching all the different things that could cause this thing to happen. And I pulled Gerda's chart and I pored over it for hours and hours that night, looking through all of her previous pregnancies, what had happened, when she'd lost the babies. And there was a variety of times, and I just kept researching and praying. And then I realized, I think this is what it is. And I messaged my backup obstetrician here in the United States and asked him, could this be what's happening? I gave him her information and history and went over the research that I'd done and why I'd eliminated other conditions. And I said, I really think this is it. What do you think? And he messaged me right back and said, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what it is. It's clear. And I was so excited that I went and woke up the midwife who ran the birth center and I shared this information with her. And she looked at my research and she said, you know what? I think you're right. And so I messaged my obstetrician back and I said, so this isn't something we deal with all the time. What do we do to fix this condition? And the condition was actually one that is rare, but it does happen. And it's where her body, for a variety of reasons, would create blood clots during a pregnancy. And they were blood clots that were small enough that they wouldn't affect her, but they would effectively form in the blood vessels of the placenta. And at various times during that pregnancy, they would eventually cut off oxygen and nutrition to the baby, and the baby would die, and she would miscarry or have a stillbirth. And so I said, what can we do for this? And he said, so she needs an injection every day. And it either needs to be Lovenox once a day, or it can be warfarin or Coumadin twice a day. And they need to be given in her abdomen, but you can't miss a day or an injection. So we were like, okay, she lives right here with us as our housekeeper. We can do that. And then we started researching and decided that we really only wanted to put her through that once a day. And so we started contacting the different pharmacies around Haiti to see if we could get Lovenox. And they said, well, yes, we can, but it's going to cost this much. And when we figured up how much we would need for her to have an injection every day up until 38 weeks gestation, it would cost us over $15,000. So we were like, now what are we going to do? We don't have $15,000. So we prayed, and my midwife friend put on her Facebook post, does anybody have resources in the United States for Lovenox at a cheaper price? And somebody answered her that very day and said, you know what? That is commonly used for elderly people and family members who are caring for their elderly relatives at home. Oftentimes will have that left over when their relative passes. So let's put on your Facebook, does anybody have any leftover Lovenox? And so she did that. And by the grace of God, within 3 days, we had enough Lovenox donated for free, the full amount we needed to get Gerda and her baby to 38 weeks gestation. And so she received her injections every day. And you see here the beautiful result of that effort, the grace of God in her life and in ours, and us understanding why we were here. So I encourage all of you to pray about, think about, consider why you are here, and then let that answer drive and determine how you do things and what you do. So I hope that was helpful to you. Thank you for letting me share with you. I love telling what God has done and sharing how amazing He is. And so, are there questions, comments? Tell me what, and thank you for happy birthday to my daughter. What questions do you have? Was this information helpful? Do you all do the golden hour already? Tell me, teach me. How are things done there?
Thank you very much, Michelle, for taking us through this. It's been very helpful and very inspiring. Friends, you can feel free. If you're able to unmute, please unmute and ask a question, give a comment. If you want to write something in chat, please write. Yeah.
Also, Sylvia was kind enough to help me or ask me to put that quiz together because I think that's so helpful. I love finding out what I don't know, and then I appreciate finding out if I actually learned what I was supposed to. And so I think that's a really effective way of doing that. But um, I didn't exactly do it right. And so I apologize if you do or try to take the quiz. A few of the questions have just one right answer, but some of them have multiple right answers. And so I don't think you're able to pick more than one, but it also maybe makes it easier because you have more chances of getting one of them right. So if you do take the quiz, then please understand that that's kind of the way it works, and that some of them, a lot of them, have multiple right answers. My intention, wanting you to see perhaps how many things that particular practice or protocol does. So if you take the quiz, I'm sorry it didn't turn out quite the way I'd hoped.
It's okay, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, for those that didn't take the quiz, I shared the link. Now that we've gone through the notes of golden hour, I'm sure that you'll even get it now even better. Okay, let's share some questions, some comments. Just feel free to unmute yourself. Michelle was also asking golden hour, is this something we are doing? What can we learn? What can she learn from us? So you can feel free to unmute and share how you're practicing it. If you're practicing it, what have been the challenges? Midwives in the house, don't be shy.
Yes, enlighten me about how things are done there. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to be coming there and seeing things firsthand. But I want to not assume what you need to know or need help with. I read a book many years ago called 3 Cups of Tea, I think. And it was written by a man who was a professional mountain climber. I guess there's such a thing as a professional mountain climber, but he like climbed places in Nepal, like, K2 and all these crazy things. But one time, and I think it was when he was climbing K2, he actually got separated from his partner, and he ended up almost dying, getting lost and almost freezing to death. But some villagers in the area found him, carried him back to their village, and fed him and took care of him. And over many weeks, he was able to recover and was really grateful for all that they had done for him. I mean, literally saving his life. And so he wanted to express his gratitude. And so when he was well enough to leave, he told them, I will come back and I'm going to build a school for you here in your village so that your children have a school. And that, seems to make sense, especially to somebody with our American mindset. But the villagers said to him, we're happy that we could help you and thank you for the offer, but we don't actually need a school. We actually need a bridge, because this village was located on a mountainside, and their only way off the mountain and to anywhere else was across this huge chasm, this huge gorge. And the only way they could do it, and to bring anything back into the village or take anything out of the village, people, whatever, was by them standing in a bucket and pulling themselves across this chasm back and forth. And so, where a school was maybe a nice idea, it wasn't really what they needed. And he hadn't bothered to ask, what do you need? How can I help you? And so that's always stuck in my mind, because as I read it, I'd originally thought, oh, what a great idea. That's so nice of him to be willing to, build a school. But I kind of learned, like he did, through his message, that it's always best to ask what somebody needs. So I'm really interested to learn how things are done there, and what challenges you have, maybe not just with the golden hour, but other things. And maybe together we can figure out ways to help the moms and babies that we serve.
Thank you, Michelle. There are some comments in the chat. I'll start with this question from Betty. Help me relate how breastfeeding reduces incidences of heart attack.
Yes, so that's really fascinating that they have found, and numerous studies have come up with the same information, and they're not exactly sure what all components are involved in the betterment of the mother's health long term by breastfeeding in the first hour and exclusive long term breastfeeding. But the way our bodies are designed, it's just like that extra special colostrum in the first hour benefits baby in amazing ways, better than anything else. Apparently, the use of our breasts and the colostrum that's produced and the milk that's produced has long-term beneficial health benefits for the mother as well. I mean, we know that women who breastfeed have a much lower incidence of breast cancer, but that caused them to look at what other health benefits women who breastfeed seem to have compared to women who don't. And they found all of that long list very consistently, repeatedly. Numerous different studies came up with the same conclusions, that women who breastfeed exclusively long term and including that golden hour have all of these other health benefits, from lower incidence of diabetes, other cancers, heart attacks, cardiovascular issues. All of that benefits the mother's body as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Betty, are you answered, or do you want to say something on that question? You had earlier unmuted.
Yeah, talk to me. And I'd love to see all of you. I know maybe your Wi-Fi doesn't enable that, and hopefully mine being on doesn't bother your Wi-Fi, but
No, yours is fine.
okay.
Any other question and comment about golden hour? What has been your experience? Let's share with Michelle also, just as she's shared with us. And if you have any other midwifery question, like she said, she has 40 years of midwifery experience, we can be able to learn from her. Rachel, you've been here from the start. Please say something. I know some people have just joined in, but those that have been here from when we started the presentation on golden hour, please feel free to make a comment. And even those who have just joined in, if you have a question and you missed the introduction part, this is now a time for us to interact. You can put it in chat or you can unmute and share.
And I can put up any slides. I think it was taped, so they can go back and look at those if that's helpful. Yeah, but I'm really interested to hear how things are done there. Like I said, I've worked in different parts of the world, and I find that oftentimes no matter where you are in the world, we all deal with some of the same problems and issues. But I know that in different places, there are specific issues that we run into, whether it's cultural or just the system that we're working in presents different challenges in our ability to do our best for moms and babies.
Yeah. Aisha, you've also been on. There's
I'm
a
glad
comment.
that's helpful. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. I'm glad that's helpful. I know oftentimes we're so busy, and there's a lot to do after a baby's born, and that kind of thing. So it's really good for me to keep these things in mind myself as I work with my moms. And my why is still something that I'm working on. The Lord is working on me with that, but it is helpful for me to remember when I have a lot going on, or I have lots of moms needing things at the same time, or whatever, or I'm tired, or, whatever, to go back to my why, to go back to my center and remember I'm doing this because of my love for the Lord Jesus and for what he's done for me. And so how am I going to do this? And what am I going to do based on that? And I know that you all have challenges that I never have and I never encounter, and hope that that can help you to figure out, how to overcome the challenges that you face every day.
Betty, you had unmuted. Do you want to say something? You can unmute again.
Hello,
Yes.
good evening.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Betty.
I'm so sorry I joined in late, but I think I'm able to pick one or two things. I just want to share with you people how the golden hour is, especially at place where I practice. I am a midwife. I work with the private sector, but also as a student, I have gotten the opportunity to practice from the public hospital. So about the golden hour, let me begin with the private sector where I practice or serve. So one of the things that I have witnessed about the golden hour is that in private setting, the breastfeeding, early initiation of breastfeeding is something that is observed. But I think one thing that I've witnessed that is not observed so much is that skin to skin for 1 hour following birth. And where I've seen, for example, if a mother got a tear, and mostly the obstetrician will tell you to remove the baby and take to the radiant warmer so that they are able to work on this mother with no any interruption. Yet, we know in the guidelines, we are supposed to, as long as the baby is stable, to leave the baby with the mother on skin to skin. But from my observation, I don't know about other private hospitals, but I've seen, especially where I practice, with some obstetrician, they interrupt that skin to skin. But the early initiation and that monitoring post-delivery, I've seen it is highly observed in private setting. Now, if I'm to talk about the public setting, where I also go there as a student, because I don't work with the government yet, but for me, I have, or what I've observed is that the skin to skin is more observed in the government setting as compared to the private. And even that early initiation of breastfeeding, it's also really observed. Maybe the only thing that I see that misses that side is that close monitoring of vital observation. I think because of the the number of mothers in relationship to the midwives or the doctors on ground. I think that is what I've observed in summary. Thank you so much. I now I'll be able to, when I get the notes, to cash up the parts that I missed. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you, Betty, for sharing all of that. I think that like the study that was done in the Philippines that I shared, you know, the lowest incident of breastfeeding in the first hour occurred with the doctors. Those births done with doctors, and yeah, so I think that's probably a common problem. I thought it was interesting in that study that you know, when a woman births with just family there to assist her, the rates were higher than with the government trained midwives in the Philippines, which, you know, wonder what that says to us. But it sounds like, you know, that's a common issue. And I know that sometimes the system makes it so, I mean, there's so many things that you need to do and check off and have done. And, you know, everybody's just trying to get their job done or whatever. But again, if we circle back to the why are we there? Then that impacts how we do things and what we do. And that's going to circle back to not what needs to be done as far as the system, but what needs to be done, what's best for mom and baby. And I think sometimes the system wins. And it's helpful for us to realize that and realize that so many of those things can wait. I mean, an hour really isn't all that long. And there are a lot of things that you can do that don't interfere to check off those boxes and be sure that they're done. And it's just a matter of prioritizing and realizing, I think, for all of us. And I mean, it's the same here in the United States. I saw here that Rachel was asking about moms that have C-sections. And yeah, you know, it's hard to do all those things for the babies in the golden hour, and especially while mom is being sutured and that kind of a thing. Here, if I have a mom that needs a C-section, I make a point of always being in the operating room with her and ask that the baby be given to me right away. And I am, you know, there at the mom's head with her, and I will help her. I will lay the baby on her chest because, you know, they're working down lower. So there's room there to put the baby there. I always ask, if at all possible, that all of her IVs and things be put in her non-dominant arm, so she has her other arm that she can touch the baby and hold it and help her facilitate nursing the baby. And it does require somebody standing there, you know, really holding the baby for her and maybe helping to manipulate her breast so the baby can get to it. And so that means you're not doing anything else. But again, why are we there? That's what we're actually there for. And so, you know, sometimes if you can figure out a way to do that and have somebody there to help mom, you know, to breastfeed during that hour while she's being sutured, you know, that's how I tend to try and fix it. Let's see, how are interferences for the golden
I
hour?
can also relate with that because I've had
Go ahead.
I've had all my babies C-section, and I think I've not been able, my 4 children have not been able to breastfeed any of them because the baby is taken away, and then they work on you and they put you in the recovery room. By the time you get to the baby, it's like maybe 2-3 hours. So I think here maybe, especially because C-sections are done by the gynes, they also need to be educated to allow that, and maybe the midwives need to be more proactive because they're usually in for the C-section. If I knew this earlier, I would probably have asked for it as a mother, but because I didn't know so much about it, I'll just get the baby whenever I get the baby. But yeah, just to add on what Rachel had said. And you can go ahead, Michelle. There are some comments and questions in chat.
Yeah, I mean, we only have the information we have, and we just do the best we can, and that's okay. I mean, things work, and you know, that's all good and completely understandable. But you know, that's how we as midwives and nurses can impact the system and make improvements. And yes, at least here, most of our obstetricians are men, and they've never breastfed a baby. They've never been a mother. They've never given birth. Um, they really don't get it, you know, and they're not taught that either. I mean, we only know what we're taught, right? And so if they're not taught those things, then we need to learn them. And so maybe we as midwives and nurses and mothers can better advocate for these changes and help to educate doctors and the system. And I know that here, you know, midwives and nurses can only do so much, but if we can educate the doctors, um, they oftentimes can be the ones that really push for change. But as midwives and nurses, we can also, like I said, have tenacity and continue to advocate and fight for, and continue to educate and advocate for changes and for our moms. There was a question about the golden hour with birth asphyxia, respiratory problems, right? And so, you know, ideally the baby's born, everybody's good. And then you can, you know, do the golden hour and it's all good. But that isn't always the case. And oftentimes there are issues, you know, with baby or with mom. And so you just have to do the best that you can. If baby is, you know, needing extra help or whatever, then helping the mom to hand express colostrum and saving it for her so that the baby can have it when it's able to. That's one thing. You know, if it's an issue with the mom, then, you know, keeping formula from the baby until she is able to do that or express and pump is another way to go about that. But, you know, we just have to keep in mind that this is our goal, and maybe how we get there isn't always a straight path. Sometimes we have to be creative and resourceful and figure out another way to get there, and maybe it's longer and harder, but anything that we can do in that direction is beneficial. That's good that you were able to see that actually done. That's encouraging. That's encouraging that it's happening. I love that. Thank you, Rachel. I'm looking here. Did I miss anybody? I'm looking.
Not really. There was just Barbara who was asking when is the next session. And I know Michelle is willing to come and teach us. Maybe you can suggest topics that you would want in midwifery. Then we can also give her that feedback. But I know there's definitely going to be a next session, but also during our 10-year anniversary celebration and conference in August. Michelle is coming in person, and we'll have her. So you can come with all your midwifery questions, come to hear more. So that's another place, but we'll continue having these online ones. I will communicate about the next time, maybe that she can be available or what topic we can talk about. Yeah. So don't worry, Babi or Barbara, we will definitely have a next session. And it's just appreciation for you from other people, Michelle. Before we conclude, we don't want to leave out anyone who would like to share. We have Nisa from India, we have Esther from Kenya, Evelyn from Cameroon. You can also share with us. What do you do in terms of golden hour? What is the practice there? What are the challenges? What is working? Please unmute and share with us before we end the call so we can learn. Or if someone else wants to say something, you can unmute or you can put it in chat. Nisa from India, Esther, Evelyn.
I'm so excited to hear from you all and learn how things are done there. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be coming in August. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And I'm hopefully can meet so many of you. Hopefully you can be there too. I'm excited for that and to meet you all and give you big hugs and celebrate together. It's so exciting that you have 10 years of this association. That's amazing.
Thank you, Michelle. We are also looking forward to seeing you and having you in Uganda. Okay. I'm not seeing anyone giving a comment or a question. I don't want to leave anyone out. If you have a question, a comment, you can put it in chat. You can unmute and share with us. Yeah, I think for me, from experience, especially in private hospitals, sometimes you know that the breast milk doesn't come right away. So what the bad practice I've seen that some midwives or obstetricians advises, oh, get some, the baby is going to be hungry and maybe it will affect them. So get some formula and give them as we wait for the breast milk. And at least I've been asked twice to do that, and I always tell them, no, my breast milk will come. So I always say no. But I see
Good.
that for some mothers, they go to deliver and they even go with formula packed just because they know that, the first time it's really hard. So I'll just be giving this so baby is not hungry as I wait for my breast milk to come. That is a practice I've observed and gone through. Yeah. I don't know if you want to make a comment on that, Michelle.
Yeah, I'm afraid that is unfortunately very common. And I have a whole soapbox that I won't get on. I don't know if that phrase, works for you all, but it's kind of like if somebody, has a real issue with something and they're very upset about something, then they used to stand on a box in public and talk about it or whatever. So we, talk about getting on our soapbox or whatever. And I have a big soapbox about formula that I won't go into here, but sometime I would. But I think that practice is very common. And therein again comes the understanding of God's design and the humility to understand that we're not going to improve on what he's done, on his design, right? Although sometimes I do wonder if a zipper wouldn't be better. I don't know. I just had that question. Maybe when I get to heaven, I'll say, that whole birth thing was, great, but could we do a zipper? I mean, that just seems like it would be so much easier. But I know he has his reasons. He's just not sharing all of them with me. But it's very common but therein is the understanding that God's design is best, and he designed it for there to be colostrum and plenty of it, and that it's absolutely vital to wake up the baby's digestive system before food is introduced. And so that's why the milk doesn't come in right away, because the colostrum has to do its job. And babies don't need quantity, they need quality. And if their digestive system, their stomach, their intestines are not ready for food, then we certainly don't want to give it. And that's just part of God's design, is that the colostrum comes first, gives those immunities, and wakes up the system and primes it so that it's ready for when the milk does come. And usually, almost always, it's there on the third day. Some moms get it on the second day, some on the fourth or fifth day. But just keep that baby on the breast and get all that colostrum in them that you can. And when the milk comes, then it's the right time for that baby. But respecting God's design is super important because we don't understand all the reasons why. We understand some of them, like understanding about gut priming, but there's probably all kinds of aspects of that that we don't yet understand. But it is a fact and true. And so educating our moms, other midwives, ourselves, doctors about that, and not supporting formula companies. Yeah, that's part of my soapbox. Like I said, I won't go there, not today. But yeah, remembering God's design is best.
Yeah. And it's also cheap. We can add on that because the formulas are really expensive. So
Yeah.
it's one other
And
reason you want to go that way.
how
Yeah.
what a blessing that is from God that you don't have to clean anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get anything. It's just like right there. And it's the perfect temperature and it's exactly what the baby needs. And it even changes according to baby's needs. And how amazing is that? That's just incredible to me.
Yeah, God is amazing. Okay, we're going to close. Thank you very much, Michelle, again for sharing this, sharing your wisdom with us. I think for me, my highlight is to always ask yourself, why am I here in this place with this mother and this baby? And it's not a mistake. And when God gives us those opportunities, I pray that we can prepare to do our best because we know it's not just, any other thing that has happened. This mother could be with someone else, this baby could be in another place, but they've come to you. And maybe the other thing, Michelle, here, we usually do not encourage mothers to give birth at home, like what you said, because when the risk is there, it's not easy to get them to hospital. So we have the opportunity a lot to meet these mothers in our healthcare centers as they come. And if we learn well, we can be the ones to educate them. Hopefully, we can also educate our colleagues, the doctors, to join in this. Okay, I'm going to request a volunteer to give us a prayer. Michelle, do you have any last comments before we pray? Parting shots?
Yeah. Thank you all so
Okay.
much for letting me be here. And I'm excited to meet some of you in August. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you more. Who would like to give us a closing prayer? Betty, are you there? Can you pray for us as we close? Or Benjamin may put a comment on WhatsApp thanking you for the presentation. Benjamin, would you like to give us a closing prayer?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeja, for the opportunity. And thank you so much, Michelle, for leading us and teaching us. And we promise to be better health workers. Let us humble ourselves to the word of prayer. Loving Father, precious Jesus, I want to thank you for this opportunity you've given us to learn. And I want to thank you for using Michelle for our own good to teach us what we're supposed to do and to make us remember where we are going off track. I pray that whatever we have covered, we master it and we put it into practice. And as we are departing from this webinar to our different destinations, I pray that those ones who are going to travel, you give them journey mercies and they reach their homes well. And you also bless Michelle because she has blessed us and also bless the organizer of this webinar, like you just leave here. In Jesus' name, I have prayed and believed and have faith. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for praying for
Thank
us,
you.
Benjamin. Thank you for being here, friends. If you can put on your camera, please put on your camera so that Michelle can also get an opportunity to see us. And if you're not on our WhatsApp group, I've just shared the link in the chat. you can join the WhatsApp group of Christian nurses and midwives. It's there. I cannot put on my camera because the webinar is done. So if the internet throws me out, it's okay. And if anyone else is able to put on your camera, you can please feel free to put it on, and we will keep you posted about the next webinar. Oh, Benjamin, it's nice to see you.